No, since morning we have been speaking about dal analog, meat analog and dairy analog between milk and tofu with soy as a product. What occurred to me sitting here and listening to all the speakers is that the potential and problem that we are trying to solve is more like sun analog. So why do I call that as a sun analog? We all know sun, and sun produces, it's a big, giant ball of gas. And it produces enormous amount of energy by smashing atoms against each other. The nuclear fusion, as some of you would know. Now, the idea is that if only we can transfer the nuclear fusion to produce energy on the earth, it will be safe, it will be clean, and it will be powerful. Safe because there are no greenhouse gases that will get emitted through this process. So, clean because it's so safe, because there is no nuclear meltdown that you typically see in the process of nuclear fission. And powerful because with a little bit of energy, you can produce a lot more through the fusion. Now, what is holding us from actually realizing this potential of sun and generating that energy, and why are we still struggling to do in many other ways? Because you need to first produce enormous amount of heat in the first instance. Heat as much as what is at the core of the sun, the temperature. And many other processes do generate something of that kind. We also have to simultaneously, actually imagining that on the ground would mean that imagine it as a sun in a bottle. That not only do you need to produce that amount of heat, but you need to contain it. And through putting magnets in a manner like we have the gravity that holds and so on, so we'll put that. And it also needs to be economical. That the amount of energy that you're putting in to heat should be less than amount of energy that you'll actually get out of it. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. And again, similarly, there are processes which do it, but not all of these things together that produce that level of energy, contain it, and do it economically. Now, various challenges that we heard from the soybean, various potential that we heard, protein, nutrition, the health benefits, and sustainable and most inexpensive protein, and all of that has the potential on one side. And several challenges that we heard. And a lot of work has also happened, as we heard, from the bean cultivation side, from the food side, from a nutrition side, and many of us sitting here are industry stakeholders and SMEs producing different products, and we have reached a certain scale in terms of whatever that is happening. But far from the potential that we are also talking about. And that's where while individually as a product it may be dal, meat and dairy analog, collectively the problem that we are trying to solve is more like the sun analog. If you have to really make all of this possible with the kind of advancements we have seen in every field, as we just heard from other speakers, there is a phrase called acting in concert. Everybody doing their very best, like we have seen in that sun analog, is not good enough to move the needle as far as this sector is concerned. It needs to happen in concert. Now, what does it actually mean? It's easier to say that we must act in concert, but actually making it in concert. If you look at the consumer side, notwithstanding a fair amount of progress, okay, there may be a little bit of issue of awareness, but there is much of using social media and other attention to protein and all that, there is a fair amount of appreciation, at least in some segments of the consumers. But there is still some gap in terms of how do we ensure that the taste is aligned with what we are used to, texture or odor, or it is very good to hear that the dal analog that Dr. Gupta tried out last night is as good as dal, but the product that I have tried out earlier is that by the time you cook it, the integrity of the form thereafter is lost. So if you are making a dal or a sambar or whatever else that you are cooking, either there is a limitation and consumers need to get used to the new form because of the benefit that come with it, or we solve it technologically and we get a better output. So in each case it is like that, whether it is the texture and odor and so on. And some of these need not only be on the processing technology side, some of it could also start from, as in case of odor, the beanie smell, all the way from the variety itself, as we heard of some varieties today. So this acting in concert would mean that it's not good enough to have potential at a macro level and problem solving happening at individual silo level. The potential needs to be as individual streams, that if there is a health benefit of a particular kind, taking it all the way back to the production side on the farm from a consumer side needs to be handled like one chain. If it is a nutrition, then again the same thing needs to happen individually. So therefore this point about partnership, collaborative, public-private or private-private or public-private producer, there will be many combinations of these. For each of these potential areas, how do you pull the full strand and work together? It's not good enough that a good variety is produced unless there is the consumer benefit side of it is taken, or if consumer benefit side is taken, unless a large-scale processing technology is developed. That's not good enough until actually the economics for the farming happens on the other side. The second stakeholder, like consumer point, is the farmer. As we just also heard that over the last 10 years, the growth of the sector happened because of the horizontal expansion of land, and the yield growth has not happened because of the various problems in the soil and all that. But I don't think there is too much of hope in the future, just that area will expand, because where water has come, paddy is coming in. Where there is not enough water, maize is coming in. Because despite soybean prices being twice as much as the paddy or maize, the net income for the farmer is just about half of these other crops, because the yield is just about a third on average. So therefore, on one side we need to raise the yield, and the other side it is probably converting a lot more into food, or one of these, depending on what strand of the consumer benefit we are taking it all the way back to the farmer. And therefore, I think that alignment is the way that we can take this forward. Potential exists, like the nuclear fusion I described. Individual possibilities, already we have seen great amount of work that has happened. But to really translate it and moving the needle to a significant scale is when this partnership happens on a strand-by-strand basis, not at a macro level. And for that to happen, I think certainly the momentum of a year of soy that hopefully will get declared will get this attention and synchronicity possible, and so that will be my single submission. Thank you.